Hello everyone, my name is Mirko and welcome back to the channel. Welcome back to another brand new Apex Legends video, and in today's video we're going to be speaking about the ultimate sniping tips to help you guys snipe properly in this game. We're going to cover things like positional tips and what snipers you guys should be choosing for your loadout. If you go ahead and enjoy today's video, be sure to drop a big thumbs up to support the channel further, and be sure you're subscribing if you're currently not subscribed to the channel. So as I'm sure majority of you guys are aware, we've received the new limited time game mode in the latest Apex update, which is only shotguns and snipers, so there's no better time to train your sniping than right now in this new game mode, because you're only going to go against players using snipers or shotguns, and there's no better way to get practice in than doing it in this game mode. So take advantage of this game mode and make the most out of it before it gets removed. If you're watching this video after the game mode has been removed, be sure to go into a standard game mode and keep practicing. My suggestion is don't play ranked, because ranked is going to be much more harder for you guys to get your practice in. So anyways, before we speak about any specific tips, let's speak about the best sniper for you guys to choose in your loadout and why you should choose this sniper. So excluding the Kraber, because that's a care package only weapon, what should you guys pick from the ground? So after many months of using snipers, I've noticed that the longbow is probably the most consistent sniper to use in this game, and it is hands down the best sniper to be using at long range other than the Kraber. I'll tell you guys why now. So if we talk about the triple take for a second, the more you shoot at distance, the more the little pellets are going to spread further away from each other, so trying to land them long shots is going to be really hard for the triple take. But when it does come to consistency, the longbow is your go-to weapon. However, when it does come to them close and medium range engagements and you think your accuracy is fairly decent in this game, I would actually consider using the triple take, because the triple take does deal more damage if all three of the pellets land on the opponent. But if you're trying to adjust to sniping or improve how you snipe, I would suggest just sticking to the longbow, because the longbow is more consistent, it has a higher fire rate, and you won't suffer from the medium to long range distances. Now, I know some people will think, why have you not mentioned the G7 Scout? I actually find the G7 Scout to be more of a semi-auto assault rifle. Although it's in the sniper category, I would not class the G7 Scout as a deadly sniper in this game. I would avoid the G7 Scout because the longbow just completely outshines it. So let's speak about positional tips, how you should be positioned when using a sniper. So the first thing we're going to talk about is the distance between you and the enemy. When using a sniper, you want to make sure that you've got a great distance between you and the enemy, probably a minimum of 50 meters. Because the problem here is that if you are engaging at close range with an enemy while sniping, as soon as the enemy starts pushing you, they can force you into an unwanted gunfight. And what you want to be doing here is you want to be avoiding gunfights as much as possible when sniping, because that will put you at a great disadvantage and it will put you under immense pressure to land every single shot. And even if you do land, say for example 3 bullets into someone that's using an SMG or an AR, you won't even be able to down them if they're using a purple or a gold body shield. You'll be dealing about 160, 170 damage, and that is not enough to down someone that's got 200 health. So this is why you want to keep a great distance between you and the enemy, so that way if you do need to retreat and the enemy is trying to close the distance, you can do so calmly and without any pressure. So the last thing I want to speak about in regards to positional tips is, I mentioned earlier, you want to avoid them 1v1 gunfights, and in rare occasions that there's no cover next to you, the best thing to do is just escape the gunfight, use your Legend's ability to get out of there. But cover is extremely crucial, because snipers aren't like fully auto ARs or SMGs, you haven't got them extra bullets to back you up, so you want to make sure you're ducking in and out of cover. The only time you want to pop out of cover is when you're ready to fire a shot. The only time the enemy will see you is when they're being shot at, and every other time the enemy is looking at you, you shouldn't be exposing yourself. Ducking in and out of cover is a really common tactic that a lot of people use, even when they're using other weapons, but especially when you're using snipers, because you have a pause in between each shot. You want to make sure that pause that you do have, you're not overexposing yourself. So anyway, moving on to how to land your sniping shots. Now we've spoken about positional tips, what snipers to use, let's speak about how to land them shots, which is one of the most crucial parts. So landing your shots is not something that's easy, and the first thing I will say is that you want to make sure the enemy is a predictable target. So if the enemy is running to different directions, you don't want to risk shooting at the enemy, revealing your position, because once you've taken that one shot, not only have you revealed your position to about a quarter of the map, but you've also stopped the enemy from potentially becoming an easier target. Missing that one shot will cause the enemy to start zigzagging and becoming a harder target, whereas if you wait calmly, the enemy might do a slight pause or they might start running to one direction. That's where you'll have a better chance of landing your first shot, and your first shot accuracy is absolutely crucial. With some scopes, you can actually see how many meters you're aiming at, and also with them scopes, just underneath your crosshair, you can see extra numbers. These numbers are basically going to help you in regards to the bullet drop. For example, if you're aiming somewhere and it says 200 meters, you want to aim the point where it says the number 2, and that's going to adjust the bullet drop for you. And obviously when you're getting numbers like 250, then you want to aim in between the 2 and the 3, and almost every time you will be guaranteed to land on some part of the body, whether it be the head, chest or legs. And when enemies are running horizontally, depending what range it is, if it's anywhere from close to medium range, you don't have to worry about aiming slightly past the enemy so the enemy runs into the bullet. But when it comes to them longer medium ranges and them extremely long ranges, you want to aim past the enemy to the direction the enemy is running so the enemy runs into the bullet. And if you miss your first shot, you will get a rough idea on how further you need to aim for the next shot, which is actually really crucial. You want to make sure you're checking how far away you were from the enemy on that previous shot, so maybe you have to aim further past the enemy or slightly before. And when enemies are using things like zip lines, you have to aim even more in front of the enemy because the speed they're going is going to be much more faster, so you have to adjust to enemies that are on zip lines and other fast ways of movement. If you do happen to be sniping at close range, which is something you want to avoid because you're already at a disadvantage, but if in the rare occasion you can't avoid sniping at close range with another enemy, then you want to make sure after every sniper shot you're aiming out, readjusting the crosshair to the enemy and then aiming back in, because if you do stay aimed in at very close range, the enemy is going to be moving all over your screen and your aiming in sensitivity is going to be very slow and you're not going to snap on fast enough to the target. Another reason why you want to aim out is because that pause you have in between each shot, you want to make sure you're strafing left and right to create a harder target, and it's a much more better strategy to be using at close range and even medium range at times. So that is going to be a wrap to these sniping tips. I hope you guys have learned from these tips and you absolutely dominate the next time you use a sniper. And one thing I will say before I do the video is that a lot of practice is needed to adjust to things like bullet drop, and it's not something I can teach you straight off the bat, but as I said earlier, you will adjust after every shot that you do, and it's something that just comes along with experience. The more you play the game, the more you snipe, the better you will become at sniping, and practice really does make perfect. So anyway guys, I'm going to wrap this video up here. As always, my name has been Mirko. Be sure you're liking, subscribing, clicking that bell notification, all of that good stuff, and I'll catch all of you guys out in another brand new Apex Legends video.